Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Julie with Bookshelf by Julie. Today we're working on this pattern. We've done this one and this one, so this is today. And we're going to use mostly the satin stitch, but I also used, now this is kind of what we're going to do, only we're going to make our leaves less even on the edge. We're going to make them a little more pokey because it's holly berries. I also use the extended French knot on some of these berries because some of them have that little spot. Let me see if I can show you what I'm talking about. They have this little spot on them, the little nub or whatever that is. So I put a satin stitch-ish. I just used an elongated French knot, so that's what I did for that. So you can see the little nubbins there, the little French knot at the end of the stitch. Hopefully you can see it. And I'm going to show you how we do that and get the leaves to have this little thing in the middle to where it looks like that's the vein of the leaf kind of thing. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's what we're going to be working on today. I think next time we're going to do the tree. I mean, you know, kind of this way, this way, this way, this way. I don't know. Anyways, so that's what we're doing today. Let's get after it, right? I've got my needles threaded in my needle book. I hope you guys made one of those. If you didn't, go back and watch that video and make that. That's so handy. I mean, and it was fun to make. And it was a good way to practice our stitches as we were, you know, learning them, right? Okay. So we're going to do one leaf and one berry, just so you guys get a good feel for things. Let's start out with a leaf, and then we've got to do our twiggy bits, right? So I only had 3 colors for this one. That maroon color and the green, darker green, and this is a brown. It's a warm brown, but kind of like a gingerbread brown. I don't know. Anyways, I use that for all of these so that they are, you know, when they go on the tree, they have matching colors, right? Sort of, right? Yeah. Okay, let's do a leaf, shall we? We're going to come up from the back and start at a point. Okay. Hopefully I don't break a needle today. I've never done that before. I must be getting all kinds of special. So I'm going to go down to about halfway-ish, right? Like so. And then we'll build from there. Okay? Like that. And what you want to do is you want to catch most all of the points. Now sometimes your threads may be a little bit too thick, especially like when we were doing this one. You didn't get to catch all the points, but you caught most of them, right? So anyways, you want to catch most of the points. I think on these bigger ones I caught all of them. And you go point and then come down from there so that the point is an actual, you know, point, right? And then come back down here to the same place, okay? So we're just doing a satin stitch and it'll kind of lay over itself kind of thing. Does that make sense? So, and then we're going back up to our point. Hopefully you guys can see the pattern's a little bit lighter on the fabric than it is on the paper. So it's point, not point, point, not point. Does that make sense? I don't know. So we're just going to come right there, and after we get to about this, I don't know, second or third, maybe third or fourth point, we'll start working our way on down the stem. Okay, so that was a point, so this is a knot point. And then we have our leaves all pointy. Now if you're doing this on another leaf and it's not a holly berry leaf, you just kind of, you know, keep it as even as you can around because most leaves aren't pointy. But the holly berries are. So, and then we go back to another point. it's just a way to get that texture in there that you want with the pointy pokey leaves, right? Now I'm just going just a little bit further down with each stitch in this section. Just a little bit further, just a little bit further, right? So that was a point, and this is a knot point. Okay? Works out pretty good to do it that way. You may have to go back in and fill some stitches depending on what. I'm using all 6 strands, so with mine it's kind of getting pretty good coverage. So we're back to another point, and as you can tell, as you get further down, you'll have to do a couple more knot points, stitches, because the points are further apart, right? So, and that's okay. We adjust as we go, right? And then we just go just a little bit further down each time on this part. And of course we get a knot. Okay, so now we're at the knot points. I just keep thinking about how pretty this is going to be on the tree, or whatever you want to put it on, but I'm going to put mine on the Christmas tree. So, yep, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, I've got another knot point, so I'm just going to go right in next to that one. You're being pretty snug with this, but try not to split your stitches, you know? So, and then just a little bit further down each time. Because really you don't want to split your stitches on this. It wouldn't look right. It would be a little bit weird, but okay, so we're back to a point now. Okay, a little bit further down. And knot point. You do want to snug them up real close, but just don't split them. Okay, again, just a little bit further down. And another point. A little bit further down. Okay. And then these are just all knot points, and we're going to try to get them as, I don't know, as snug and close as possible. We're going to go right in there. Now you can go back in afterwards and do some stitching on top of this if you want to make those lines more defined, but to me I thought it was just fine without doing that, so I didn't do that. I just left it with the I don't know, the look of that it has, like so, because that creates a natural kind of, I don't know, organic look for the leaf, to do it that way. So we're going to start up here again, and we're going to go knot point, right, like so, and we're going to come back in here where we were doing our first stitches, like so. Like that. And then we've got a point here. right in there. And we've got another knot point here. And then we'll come back with that other one as a point. And we're going to go right in there, just a little below where we were. Sure we are. What is going on there? Cut it out. Okay. Now we've got a point. And then just a little below there. We've got a knot point. You kind of want to move your stitches over a little bit sometimes when you're trying to find your place, because you want them to be close without splitting. And it's okay to move them over with your fingernail or your thumbnail or what have you. It's all good. Then we're just going to come right back in here and meet up there. Now do you see how that's forming that center line, so that you really don't have to go back in and do that extra stitch if you just don't want to. And I just didn't want to. I wanted to have it just look very organic like that. But you can. And you can fill in some more stitches here and there if you need to. But mostly this will get the job done. Because this is a knot point, so we're going to go in right in here. Hold our stitches out of the way. And then just keep going down here, just a little further each time. And it gets us there. Now we've got a point. Some points are a little more pronounced than other points, and that's okay. Leaves are like snowflakes, they're all different. Okay, we've got a knot point here, so I'm going to again pull my stitch out of the way and get this one through. It gives a lot of dimension to it as well, to do it this way. It's kind of nice. That's not nice. Okay, now we've got a point. We're going to come out here and grab our point and get right up in there. Right up in there. Okay. Then we've got some down here. We're just going to go up and under the stitches. Like so. And right in here. Like so. There you are. Isn't that pretty? Okay, I'm just gonna get this over out of my way, and we'll do a berry. How about that? Let's do this one on top because it's got the little nubbins thing that we need to make. With our elongated French knot. Okay, so we're going to start down here at the bottom of it, right, like so. And we're going to go, I just did 1 arounds on these because they didn't need to be really, you know, big. We're just going to go right there to that little nubbin spot. And you can make your satin stitches all around that. It doesn't, you don't have to do them like that. You do them whatever shape and whatever thing that you're working on, you know. You just do them around that. So we've got our elongated French knot in there, and we'll work the rest of our stitches around that. So yeah. I'm just going to go right up and under it with this stitch so I get it really close. Have I got something going on under there? Oh, my green's trying to get in my way. Get out of the way, please. Okay, out of the way up here too. You can finish one color before you start another. Let me see here. Yeah, do finish one color before you start another, because, you know, that creates problems in the later stuff. Okay, we're good. All right. Here we are. Okay. Yep, you just want to keep them real close and close to the edge of what you're doing, you know. Now that I've got that one up real close to the elongated French knot, I can go the way up to the top with this one. Right? Like so. And you kind of get a feel for it. Stay right on your line. When you're doing filling stitches is what I call these. They're fill-in stitches. You can go ahead and go around them with stitches. That's fine. Or not. So it's up to you if you want to make your outline or do the fill-in stitches and then make an outline. You can do that. Sometimes I'll do that, but I don't know, most of the time I just try to keep to the shape I'm doing, and then I don't have to do an outline. Excuse you. So, you know, whatever works for you. Don't pull them too tight. That's another key to this. Don't pull them too tight, because if you pull them too tight, they get a little bit, they'll wrinkle up your fabric, and then you just have a pucker here and there. That's never good. Okay. Alright, we've got that side, so we're going to start over here and get this side. We're going to do one real close to the elongated French knot so that we make sure we have that coverage in there. Just snug it right up in under there. Yep. And then we'll go all the way to the top again. We'll have a few little stitches at the top on this side of the little French knot, and that's fine. That'll make our berry look more dimensional, right? You don't want to sew over the French knot you put in, because that would sort of defeat your purpose of putting it there. If you don't like doing French knots, there's lots of other knots, or you can just add you a little pretty bead in there. There's lots of little tiny beads that you could use. Some of those little glass beads or something. You just have to make sure your needle will go through the hole, because some of them have tiny little holes, and that's, you know, a problem with the needle and the, you know. you could do all this and then sew the bead on afterwards, so you don't have to do it during the process, right? You can do it after the fact. So that would be cute, really, to put a little bead on there. That's not cute. So, yeah. Okay, now we're going to go up here and do our little stitches at the top. And we'll tuck these stitches up in under the French knot. That way it keeps its identity. It stays there and it doesn't get, you know, buried, right? Because we want it to stay there. Just little satin stitches still, or straight stitches, whatever you want to call this. It's just little stitches, and we're just going to tuck them right up and under there. Okay? Sure we are. If I can pull this through. There it went. Okay. And that is it. Look at that. You've got your little nubbins there where we put our French knot. And you've got all your satin stitches going the same direction. The same direction is key. Getting them going the same direction. And then these couple of little ones we put up at the top are still going the same direction, only the other direction. Does that make sense? I started up here and went and stuck them in under there. And you can see the line down through the leaf. Same. Okay. Now, we've got our, what are you doing? We've got this, and we're going to get that out of the way. We're going to go ahead and put our stitching in. I did a, what did I do? I did a back stitch. That is exactly what I did. Okay, make sure everything's out of my way under here, because that's a problem. Okay, so back stitching down through here to do your, I mean, that's the easiest one to do, right? We're just going to do little stitches. This one goes straight through there, and you just work around that when you're doing your berry, right? And so yeah, just back stitching down through there. It gets your all your little twiggy bits in. Keep your stitches as small as you're comfortable with them being, okay? On this kind of thing. I have something sticking through. Okay, now we're good. Okay, so yeah, just as small as you're comfortable with. They don't have to be teeny tiny, but it's good for them to be a little smallish. Yeah. You could try using the stem stitch or even the feather stitch on this if you wanted. You could use the couching stitch, but it could get a little hinky, really, with so many different twigs going here and there. To me, the back stitch works really well. So, and you can kind of walk your stitches over to where you want them to be. Do you remember when we were doing that and I showed how to go from here to there, and it doesn't take up as much of your thread? So you would go over here and come up here and do this stitch, and then for your back stitch you come down here and meet back up at this stitch. You can walk them all over the place like that, and it kind of keeps your stitches together, and they look cohesive on the front even though you walked them here and there on the back. Right? So we're going to go over here and go up to this one. Right, like so. And then we'll come back down to do our back stitch in here. Is that close enough or no? It's not. Okay. When you get one that's close but not quite close enough, fix it. Because if you don't, you'll be sorry. Okay, just saying. Pull it through and fix it. Because, I don't know, it could be just me, but I don't want that little bit of white showing between my stitches. You know what I mean? Let me find it on the back. Okay. Yeah, I don't want the white showing, so it's gonna be over here somewhere. What are you getting in the mix for? Okay, get that out of the way. Which one is it? It's got to be one of those over here. You just keep dinking around with it till you find it. Let me see. I'll pull it and see if I can figure that out. No, it's the one that I went over with. So, that one, that one. Let me find it and I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. I actually just sewed back through the hole that you know how you can do that? I've done it lots of times by accident, so I did it this time on purpose. I just went back through the same hole. Because I want it to be right there at the end of that stitch, but not splitting the stitch. Yeah, okay. Imagine it will be okay to split the stitch on this, but I don't really want to do that. Okay, then I'm going to end up right back down here where I was. Okay. Now we're going to skip over because the line's not over this one. So we're going to go down underneath here. And again, we're just making little stitches, back stitches, you know, the whole stitchy thing. And then we'll go off on our trails over here and get these twiggies as we go. Okay. We're going to go up here. I'm going to go right here because we've got two little twigs up here to do. And just keep your back stitch going. And once you fill in, put your berries and all the things, the leaves and everything, then it just looks so pretty. And it'll make a beautiful ornament on the tree, right? Or whatever you want to do with it. Mine's just going on the tree. I'm excited about it. Okay, so now we've got those two twiggies. We're going to go right in the middle of that and go up here and then down there. A back stitch is a very versatile stitch, so we can do a lot with it. Oh, that's doing that again. I don't want white between my stitches. When you're doing something on white, you really do have to watch that, because you know, on that cream color, it really doesn't matter that much. I mean, it might matter. I might fix it still, but white will show. It's like that. Oh, white will show everything, you know. Well, white does show everything. Every little bit of it will show. So we have to be careful about that. Okay. So I'm walking up here and grabbing this stitch. Coming back down in the center of this one where I went up. And we're going up and then down. Come along. And we almost have all of our little twigs done. My thread's trying to become a rat's nest or something. Okay, so then we're going to come back down here to the bottom of this one and go back up there. This other twig that goes up through here comes up from further down, so we're gonna try to keep our twigs in the right lane, right? As you can see, it comes from here and goes up, so that's a thing. All right. Yep, just take your time, like I said with the snowman. Just take your time and take a break every now and then. Do something else, and then come back to it. Because it's not a quick fix. This isn't. They call it slow stitching for a reason, because, you know, and it does so much better if you do go slow. Yeah, you could do something like this on one of those really fancy embroidery machines, and it will be really pretty. I'm not dissing them at all. They're really beautiful. They make beautiful things. But it would be done in just like no time, you know. So, just saying. Alright, so I'm going to walk from there to there and go up here. And then from there, I'm going to go up here to this one, to where this berry is, and come back down. Hopefully I'm making sense here. But yeah. Just gonna go from there, and then I'm gonna come from this stitch, top of this stitch here, there, up here to finish that one out. Sure I am. And then we'll go back down and make our connection here. But yeah, you could use other stitches. I just think for this, for me, the back stitch worked best. Yeah. Going back in at the bottom of this stitch, we've got one more twiggy limb up here. So we're going to go here. And right there. Now if you noticed, I didn't do the twig out to this. When you do those leaves, they become a little bit bulky, and so it'll reach down to there. So I'm not going to worry about that. This one I will do because it's got a berry between it. I guess is my reasoning, but yeah, it's just that one the leaf will cover that. So we're not going to do that one. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and do our stitch here to there. I didn't want to risk going back through and unsewing what I just sewed, right? So, okay. Now down here to there, there. And we're going to go up here. Okay. Right there. And back down to here. Yep. And then we're going to finish it off. There we are. Okay. Now, we've got all of our little twigs in. We've got our berry and our leaf. I'll finish the rest of them off camera because, you know, these do get long. Like I said, don't get in a hurry. Just take your time and watch TV or whatever. Don't stick yourself with a needle, though. That hurts. Just saying. Okay, so satin stitch, back stitch, elongated French knot, and satin stitch. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Just takes a minute, right? Okay. You guys go make something pretty today. Take care. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. TTFN.